Well, hello there, motherfuckers, and welcome to your Raw review. I gotta say, the show is far from perfect. Far, far, far from perfect. But you had a couple of things on this show where it almost looked like um, someone else was writing it, that this was not the handiwork of Vince McMahon or the normal writers. A couple of things, Cena and Reigns really putting forth a good segment here, a controversial segment that I'm going to break down. And I was having some mixed feelings, but they're pretty positive to say the least. So let's get from the top. So we start off with the Miz, talking about how he was disrespected by Angle by not having a match for the Intercontinental title on the main card. And I talked about this in my SummerSlam review. Why, after all they did with the Miz is wrestling at WrestleMania, why would he not be on SummerSlam defending his title? For so long they tried to convince people that the Intercontinental title had prestige. The Miz has done a lot for the title, I suppose, making it credible once again. That's what they say, but the thing is, why do we even have to cut this promo? Because you wouldn't need to cut this promo if they just booked the match. I mean, why wasn't the Miz on SummerSlam? It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. One of the most charismatic guys, one of their most valuable players. A lot of people in the YWC like to knock the Miz, but this guy, when you compare him to others, the level of charisma and what he brings to the table, he's a lot more valuable than they make him out to be. So, starting off the show with this Intercontinental title business is so odd. This is what's so funny about this show. The way how you're starting the show and the way how they ended this particular episode, even though there was some good stuff on here, they like put it in such a weird way. Like they don't know how to format a show at all. They have no clue how to keep viewers. So the Miz is the first thing you see, which is not necessarily a bad thing. But here he is right from the start telling you that WWE didn't view him good enough to be on SummerSlam. So right away you're told from the start that here's a guy who couldn't even uh, wrestle on SummerSlam because he wasn't perceived to be valuable enough to draw people into watching the show. So you're going to open the show with him. So this is the way how they redeem it. But they're always trying to redeem people. If they would just book and write things the right way the first time around, they wouldn't have to do all these sorts of weird segments where they're admitting that they suck. They're basically right here, they're admitting that they don't know how to book a proper card. They're admitting that they don't know how to book their champions, how to write them into the storylines to make them seem important. They're admitting that a guy that is as charismatic as The Miz, they just couldn't find the spot for him on SummerSlam. It's pretty pathetic when you really look at it and you take a step back and you analyze this segment. So Kurt Angle tells him that he's going to be defending his title at No Mercy against the winner of the following Battle Royal. So we have the Battle Royal. Strangely enough, Jeff Hardy wins it. They threw Fuckboy Balor in there. Bray Wyatt, interfered, so that feud is not over. Oh my God, are you kidding me? Is this feud really going to go on once again? I thought that they killed this at SummerSlam. Where else are they going to go now? Balor wore the paint. He beat Bray in a pretty decisive match. They're going to, carry this on even further. What more could they do? Where are they going to go from here? They already, climaxed with the whole demon paint. Now Bray is attacking a non-painted Balor. So now we're taking a step back from what we just had. So they built all the way up to the demon returning after a year of absence, and now they're going to go right back to the same thing. what is the purpose of having another match between these guys, furthering this storyline? There's nowhere Bray could go here. He lost. He lost in a, if they wanted to make this feud last a bit longer, they shouldn't have just had him get, totally trounced at the pay-per-view. I mean, that's it. Now they're going to try to stretch this out even further. I mean, Fuckboy beat him. We all know that should have never happened, and now we're going to have to sit through this for more months. How many more months? How many more matches? Is this going to be an AJ Kevin Owens type of affair where we're going to have match after match after match until we're totally sick of it? I mean, how many more times? Like, honestly, I would like to know before we even get started here again with this feud once again. Are we going to have to watch, 3 more matches, 4 more matches? So I know not to even bother, is what I'm saying. Interesting enough that they have Jeff Hardy winning here. They obviously don't know what to do with the Hardys as a tag team. The only thing they could think to do with them is put them in random matches, job them out. Once again, another team, another massively popular team, another valuable asset to WWE. Not even on the main card at SummerSlam. Like, I stepped back and I said SummerSlam was a decent show. But they didn't even put the main stars that could have made the show even better, made the show even more memorable. No Miz, no Hardys. You put these guys on week after week on Raw interacting with each other, and they're not even on the main card. You just do some weak ass 6-man tag team match on the pre-show that everyone else is going to forget about. So it's interesting enough that Jeff Hardy, I always thought that this was weird. They always went back to the tag team after a while. They team a little bit. They go for a singles run. I would not be opposed to a Jeff Hardy singles run, but can they at least give a bit of closure here to the tag team? I mean, you did nothing with them ever since these guys came out at WrestleMania to a huge pop. A lot of excitement surrounding these guys. We thought we might get some of the broken gimmick. We only got glimpses with little words and little hints being dropped by Matt during promos. They had plans. They were going to put these guys up against, what the hell is that tag team from the NXT? Dash and Dawson. Oh, the Revival. Those guys get injured. They move on to the next team. They lose. They're losing every week. So hopefully they do something with the Jeff Hardy singles run. But this just pretty much feeds into what I always say. They always end up fucking something up in the end. It doesn't matter how much excitement they put into it, how much they build it up. They always end up doing something that either ends up hurting somebody, it makes somebody look like a goof. Always messing shit up. This is why it doesn't even pay to get excited for anything that they do. Don't look forward to anything in this company. So, Jeff Hardy, a former world champion, I look at it like this. Most of the people that they've got wrestling for the world title, like on the SmackDown side, that Kenzo Suzuki wannabe, for example, you've got Jeff Hardy, who, is more deserving of being in the world title picture than that guy. More deserving than a lot of the other schmucks that they've got running around this place. The fact that you had a guy just a year ago, fuckboy Balor, winning a world title. If he could do it, why not Jeff Hardy? So, go for it. Put him in the tag team scene. Also, it's getting a bit too much. The Miz never moves on from the Intercontinental title. This guy just pretty much holds the belt forever and ever. You never really feel like he's going anywhere. And I've said this for how long now? As charismatic as the Miz is, they never want to seem to bring him up to that world title level again. And why is that? They put him there before. All of a sudden, it's not like bigger stars have come into the company that are more deserving than him. So you might as well put him right back to where he was. It would make sense with so many more top tier guys missing. Wouldn't you want to push your more charismatic mid carders? But they can never seem to get Miz back to where he was. You would think now he's built himself back up, but it's been 6 years. Believe it or not, it has been 6 years since the man's been champion, even longer than that, 6+ years. And they never seem to get this guy back to where he was. And why not? Like, is he not working hard enough? Because that's not what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a guy that works very hard in promos, very hard in his matches. He's obviously over. He gets massive heel heat no matter what. So why is he not somewhere in the world title picture? It beats the shit out of me. It's like they act like they have a whole bunch of options here, and they have no options. So go with the most obvious one. Do something with Miz. Everybody is like, I said it's like in stasis. They just stay in the same spots in this company. Nobody moves up or down. They all just stay the same. You get your spot and you just kind of stick to it, and they go from week to week, match to match, and nothing interesting happens with any of their careers. Up next, we had Enzo and Noam Dar in the match. So Enzo cuts a promo. Enzo is now in the cruiserweight division, and everybody didn't want to believe that this is what was going to happen. Enzo is in the cruiserweight division, people. They're actually taking this charismatic guy. Now you would think because Big Cass is not there, maybe, slide Enzo in a bit more, give him more time to do something worthwhile. They're going to waste this guy away and throw him into the cruiserweight division because he's a smaller guy. This is the best that they could think of what to do with this guy. All this charisma, all these promo skills, and you're just going to throw him into this worthless gimmick, the cruiserweight division that no one gives two fucking shits about. Now, we will get a feud between him and Neville, which will be interesting because you've got two charismatic guys that look like stars. But where are they going to go from there? You take a look at a guy like Noam Dar. Enzo said it best, a guy with two last names. Are we supposed to sit around and believe that a guy like Enzo is going to hang around with a bunch of losers, especially a guy called Noam Dar? Noam Dar. I've already ranted on this guy a number of times. But the fact that you even have a guy on your roster called Noam Dar is pretty fucking sad. You've got how many people, on this roster more deserving of TV time? You've got so many other wrestlers that deserve to be there, and you're going to give time on the TV to Noam Dar, of all people. I mean, this is sad to see Enzo in this state of affairs, that he has to be in a match with this guy, that he has to be in the cruiserweight division, this division that was made for the marks, and and the marks don't even care about it. They gave everybody a show that I want the cruiserweight division back. This whole, years and years we were hearing that we were going to get a cruiserweight show. They give a cruiserweight show 205 Live. People get exactly what they want. They could watch a whole show with nothing but suicide dives and fucking planches. And that ain't good enough for them. They don't even care about it. This is why I keep saying, don't cater to the marks, because these guys don't have attention spans that last longer than 2 seconds. Once they get what they want, they complain and they move on to the next thing. And it was quite noticeable. They don't even care about Balor anymore. A year ago at this same time, what were people complaining? We want Fuckboy Balor to win the title. So they made the guy go over Reigns. They made him go over everybody on the roster. And now look at Balor. As people were pointing it out to me. Oh, Balor won the title a year ago, Brad. Stop. I was making the comparison in my Roman Reigns video, and people were having big problems with that. They kept saying, oh, he hasn't won a title. He's in the mid card now. It doesn't fucking matter. Just a year ago, this guy was a world champion main eventing SummerSlam. The reason why is 1 year later, they realized that wasn't working, that nobody even watched that show because no one was interested in seeing Balor in a world title match. People looked at that. They looked at Balor and said, you've got to be fucking kidding me. So what they did is they wised up the following year. But they still have that mentality. He's still there. The fact that Balor's even on the roster is a joke. And, this is, if you're going to put someone in the cruiserweight division, put Balor in there. Not Enzo. This guy, all this charisma, he's, obviously the crowd loves him. It doesn't matter what people say on the internet. You have so many people attacking Enzo. They don't like his character. They say he's annoying and shit. Okay, well, what I find annoying is the fact that you have a bunch of mamalukes on this roster that don't even deserve to be there. You've got a guy like Kevin Owens, so out of shape, a big fat slob. Same thing goes for Samoa Joe. And you want to take a crack at Enzo, who has more charisma than both of those two fat asses put together? You've got to be joking me. So, obviously, yeah, they're just sliding Enzo to the side. I see what they're doing. In all honesty, they probably want to inject 205 live with, a dose of charisma. They see that it's boring, it's drab. Tony Nese is not getting it done. Those other guys, you have so many people in this 205 show. Rich Swann, who cares about these guys? Can you honestly sit there and tell me that you want Rich Swann to get a push? That you want to see this guy become a big star? It's a fucking joke, is what it is. All of this is a joke. You have a lot of people, and okay, you've got a guy like Brian Kendrick. We saw that this guy could be charismatic. We saw more of him in TNA, for example, when they fleshed out his character, that he could be an entertaining guy. They're not going to do anything with him, obviously. This is a big waste of time, 205 Live, and they're wasting Enzo, putting him in, this retarded situation. How do you go from being around Big Cass and the Big Show in a SummerSlam match to being, relegated to a role in 205 Live? Yes, he will be getting a title match, but still, it just pisses me off to no end to know that they're wasting a talent like this in such a meaningless show and division. Up next, you had Paul Heyman cutting another promo. And I talked about this also in my Roman Reigns video, where people were bitching like crazy. I also found it funny that nobody comments on the video that I was commenting on. They all just start attacking Reigns right away, completely ignoring all the goofball losers that were attacking Reigns. I'll talk a little bit about that more when we get up to the Reigns segment. But it's just really funny how people, they look past the content of the video just so they could get their opinions across. But I did mention about how Roman Reigns' promo skills have greatly improved. I compared it to Paul Heyman, who cuts the same exact promo every week. And that's exactly what he did here. The same promo. Once again, telling the story. And here's my question. Where was Braun Strowman? Where was this guy? So he attacks him last week. He attacks Brock Lesnar, leaves him in a heap. Okay. So now we fast forward another week, and where is he? Now he doesn't feel like attacking him when he's out there. So he can cut a promo and he doesn't need to say anything. So, they're allowed to stand there. Brock, says he's going to take him to Suplex City. He calls him a bitch, and that's it. There's no follow up. Braun doesn't show up. He didn't show up through the whole show. And I'm just sitting there. It's like, what's the explanation here? There's no explanation at all. They just Brock says his piece. He grabs the mic, which was nice to hear Brock talk. But you see what I'm talking about here? It's the same story. Brock stands on the left. Heyman stands on the right. Heyman says, my name is Paul Heyman. I represent blah, blah, blah. Who is not sick to death of hearing this stupid-ass shtick week after week? What a great promo. This guy's a promo god. I mean, is the YWC out of their minds? Are they not watching the same show that everybody else is watching? Are they just, watching it with blinders on? I like Heyman. I like promos that Heyman cuts. I mean, you look at this and you've been seeing the same promo for how many years? How many years? We've been listening to him for 5 years since they put him and Brock back together. What was it for SummerSlam in 2012? We've been seeing the same shtick from him. Nothing has changed, and I am really sick of it. But no one else seems to be. And I says, as much as you want to knock some of these other guys for their promo skills, at least we know we'll get something a little bit different than Heyman. I mean, this guy, they put him in a rut. The same promo. Brock does something. Brock wipes his ass, and Heyman has to tell us, in some sing-songy way, how he did it. Okay, we all saw it. You replayed it 10 billion times. There's no need to have Heyman reiterate it and then walk away. I mean, nothing even happened. Strowman didn't even come out. It wasn't even questioned. Where is Strowman? I don't know. What was he? He was taking a shit while this was going on. I mean, why is he not showing up? I want to attack him that week, but I don't really feel like it this week. How does that really add up? How do you explain that absence? You just can't. Cesaro defeated Seth Rollins, so now we're going to have and then Ambrose defeated Sheamus. So one member of one team beats that. So now we're all evened up. Even Stevens booking. Didn't we see this leading up to SummerSlam? But now it's different because they're ringside. Not that these are bad matches, and I like all four of these guys, but for God's sakes, they have the same booking setup, the same thing going on. We all know. And then what is it going to be next week? They're going to do-si-do. Ambrose will face Cesaro, and Rollins will face Sheamus. And then they'll probably have the tag team match, and then they'll do something at No Mercy. I mean, they're going to wear this out until we just can't take it anymore. This is what they do. They keep on every single time there's a tag match set up. Put those guys in singles matches, then throw them in a 6-man tag, rinse and repeat. Week after week, month after month. It's always the same exact booking setup. You could almost guess it. Now we're going to have them team with the Intercontinental Champ against whoever he's facing at the pay-per-view. Put the faces with the faces and the heels with the heels. I mean, what a tires. Don't they even get sick of doing that? Wouldn't it be more interesting to mix it up a bit, to do something a little bit different? But once again, just let's do it the same way we've been doing it for years and years. Emma defeated Mickie James, and this was very interesting. I like the way how they put this on their YouTube page. A match with big social media implications. This is like fighting for a title or some type of big accolade. So what was the thing of the premise of this match? If Emma won, Mickey James would have to tweet out anything that she wanted her to tweet out. And then if Mickey James won, Emma would have to stop saying that she created the Divas Revolution. Yeah, big stakes there. What? Anyway, Emma beats her. Once again, I don't understand why Mickey James is even there to help young talent get over. Okay, well, Emma's not over. She probably will never be over. It's not happening. The reason you hired her, you're failing to do what you originally stated you were going to do with her. So now we have the match, and then on her way out, she kept on repeating, I created, and she said this, I created the Divas Revolution, and she said it like 15 times already, and this was also funny. Did you know that the King, Jerry the King Lawler, was on commentary, and they don't even make a big deal about it, like he doesn't even come out to his entrance or anything on TV. He hasn't been there in months. All of a sudden, he just shows up. It's like he's always been there. And what a treat it was to have the King on commentary. Man, have I missed him. But instead of taking Booker out, I would have taken fucking Corey Graves out, for fuck's sakes. Take Corey Graves out of there and swap him for the King, but Booker wasn't there. If Booker and King were there, the show might have been better from a commentary standpoint. But you still had them in there, and the King, he should be the main color guy. They shouldn't have fucking Corey Graves in there, ruining it, taking the lines away from the King. But he even said during this, like, oh, enough already. She repeating herself over and over and over on her way out. Is this just here to annoy people? Like, what are they doing? Like, okay, I will say that at least they're trying to have a little story here between these two girls, but no one cares. You're not giving anybody a reason to care. Then we had the big segment, the contract signing of Roman Reigns and John Cena, as they attempted to bury one another on the mic. And I liked this segment. It showed ferocity. Cena said that, he's here, still here because Roman Reigns can't get the job done. He said, he's not good enough. That's why the people boo him. And the thing is, like, hearing this is WWE's fault. The same stuff that they're doing to shoot promo on. See, I like this. I like when they're trying to expose the business. People were crying about this online for all the wrong reasons. Oh, it's breaking kayfabe. Like, people don't already know about this stuff. This is what should be more in promos. It should be more reality-based. Except the simple fact of the matter is, it's WWE's fault that Roman Reigns is not properly over in the manner that he should be. There's no reason why Roman Reigns should have been booked the way he was booked. And, they owe it all to themselves for anything that didn't go the way that they wanted to with Roman Reigns. So you had them both cracking on one another. They had the crowd in the palm of their hands, and this was a good segment. And for anybody that says that Roman Reigns is not good on the mic, especially after watching this segment, you're just basically lying. You're blinded by your own markish hate, basically. You're all being a bunch of YWC goofballs, not wanting to admit because you have this vendetta. You don't want your friends to hear that you like Roman Reigns. Your internet friends. God forbid somebody catches you admitting something, in a YouTube comment, for fuck's sakes. Oh, my popularity is over. Yeah, your big popularity. Roman Reigns was doing an awesome job on the mic here, showing how well he's improved, how comfortable he is in his role. The funny thing is, what would have been so great about this segment is that they had the perfect opportunity to make Roman go full on heel here, or at least make the guy a tweener. Have Roman Reigns turn around to the crowd when John Cena said that these people boo you because you're not doing your job probably. Roman should have turned around and says, you know, do I care what all these losers here think? He should have says I make more money than he should have really fucking went in on him. And imagine if he said that, the crowd also would have started booing even harder. It could have created a tremendous amount of heat. But once again, another failed opportunity to make something that was good even better. And it really wouldn't have taken that much brain power. It would have just the one thing that WWE doesn't want to do. Even when they do something good like this, they don't want to take a chance. Them doing this is not really that risque, really, when you think about it. It's not risky business at all. We all know that people are booing Reigns, and we all know, these politics and everything back. Okay, it's like stating the obvious, really. It's not even like, oh man, what a shoot promo here. It's a slight shoot promo. That's all it is. And nothing really to speak of besides that. It was just a good promo, and I'm looking forward to this match. These are two guys that look like stars, act like stars, talk like stars, and we're gonna finally have that big match. This is it would have been nice to have it at SummerSlam too, but Reigns was involved in that other good match. It's just I look at it and see. Here's the thing. People were saying in my Reigns video, you've got videos called Roman Sucks. Okay, well, here's the thing. Most people, for example, you have a change of opinions and stuff like that. You idiots out there were saying that you thought Braun Strowman sucked back in the day. We all know that you did. You didn't like Braun, and now you love him. Okay, so your opinion changed on him. So they were booking Reigns like trash back in like a couple of years ago. The guy made some genuine strives to improve himself. Even, with the shitty job that creative was doing for him, the guy managed to really improve. But nobody wants to give him any credit at all. That's fine and well with me. They like, but like I said, what I've done on this channel since the very beginning. Be honest. If I like somebody, if my opinion has changed, I will state it in the video, and that's exactly what I'm doing here. So Angle's already got a match planned. It was Roman Reigns and Cena versus the best things since sliced bread. They beat them. A simultaneous finish. This was nice to have, two partners that are not getting along forced to tag. I haven't seen this in a while, and it was nice to see it. And, they could have ended the night right here, but once again, not knowing where to end it, they move on to the next thing of even less importance. That's what's so weird about it. You have your two big main event guys here, and and that's it. You're not closing out with the Universal Champion. You're not closing out with Cena and Reigns, your money match. By the way, No Mercy's looking to be a great pay-per-view. Strowman and Lesnar, Cena and Reigns. This is like a Mania style No Mercy. It just so happens that you've got the marks to play. Oh, why is they wasting these matches on No Mercy? They just get these matches going. Why do we have to wait? It's exactly like Jeff Lane said during a Russo podcast. So you're basically saying you want No Mercy to suck? You don't want No Mercy to be the best show that it could possibly be? Have these matches now. Why do we have to wait till Mania or some shit? Have these matches right now. It doesn't matter. They're all on the network anyway. What do you care what the show is called? What the ring apron says. Why? It doesn't matter. Let's have the match now. Let's take full advantage. You don't know if anyone's going to get injured. You don't know what's going to happen months from now. Look what happened to Big Cass. Have the matches now. Get them out of the way before we lose the opportunity. That's what this company should be doing. Seizing every viable opportunity available to them. It's not like they have a lot to gamble with. They don't have a lot of big stars. So when you have matches like this that are possible, do them. Just fucking do them already. And they can do rematches off of it. Trust me. Elias Sampson was doing a little in-ring guitar skit. He talked about Elvis, and the King got upset. He got off the commentary table. He says the crowd doesn't appreciate the lyrics here in Memphis because they were in Memphis. He was insulting Elvis's hometown. And he starts introducing another wrestler called Pelvis Wesley. And I saw this online, but it looked so stupid I didn't even watch it. The Southpaw Championship Wrestling. That what culture says they should make a real pay-per-view on the network? Does what culture even know what the fuck they're talking about? So Heath Slater comes out dressed up like Elvis. They made the logo look like it was, supposed to be, Elvis Presley, but it says Pelvis Wesley. Such like a dumb joke and parody. How corny and cheesy. And so he comes out and he just gets beat up by Samson. What? Like, what was the point of that? How the hell do you follow up Cena and Reigns, two titans, two charismatic, massive stars, and you follow it up with this fucking bullshit? This company has no idea how to format a show. I mean, my God, how do you go from a great segment, 2 stars, to this garbage right here? I mean, Samson's great. I've even talked about liking Slater. The guy deserved better. And this is the garbage that they... Oh, my God. You have the King for the night. You have Jerry the King Law. Keep him on commentary, by the way. Alexa Bliss defeated Sasha Banks to win back the title. So why did she lose it in the first place? What? Okay, so transitional champion. Who was it that said transitional champion? Was it the Disco Inferno or somebody said it? So that now we're gonna get Nia Jax. Nia came out at the end. She put Alexa Bliss up on her shoulders, and she did the Triple H, what Triple H did to or Batista did to Randy Orton when Triple H gave the thumbs down, over a decade and a half ago, and slammed her down. So now we've got Nia and Bliss, which should be interesting. So finally, now they're starting to do something with Nia Jax. I kind of don't understand why they did they could have done the same exact celebration at SummerSlam without having Alexa lose. What was the point of giving Sasha another title? It's like she's already had half a dozen title runs. And this is how they ended the show. So I mean, it puts interest on the women's division. But how are you not closing out the show with Reigns and Cena? Like, that's your perfect opportunity after a big segment like that. Like, get out of it. Go. Like, you've already finished the show and you're dragging it out with a women's match with some retarded-ass Elvis parody? Like, what is this show? Like, what? I saw what I was saying at the beginning is I saw some genuine effort here with Reigns and Cena. It might have just been that you just had the 2 titans in the ring. But, I mean, aside from that, the other portions of the show, it was, business as usual. They did try to do a couple of little things, Jeff Hardy with the singles push. But I look at the end of the show and I see, no improvement at all. Still a show that has a fractured structure. Like, who is... watching this show and thinks that ended up great. I don't care. I like Alexa Bliss and everything, but It's the women's division, people. I don't care if you say, oh, that's sexist because it's not a man. No. I'm being honest here. No one cares besides the markiest, cuckiest marks and smarks and YWC losers cares that much about the women's division. Do I like Alexa Bliss? Yes. Do I like Nia Jax? Yes. But the thing is, to close out the show with them, you're showing them that they're the most important. It's like on SmackDown. They're making like the U.S. title is more important than the world title. No, nothing is more important than those belts. Except for the YWC Championship. But that's besides the point. This belt aside, I mean, we're talking about these are the belts. And you got to have an order of importance for them. Um, I don't get why they do that. Why put the women in the main event? Once in a while, if you wanted to do it, I know it was a big thing when they did it for Trish and Lita, but you're doing it again. You're just doing it too many times. Like you want people to stay tuned in to the end of the show. They're not going to stay tuned in. Stop trying to satisfy these marks already. They're not getting you any more ratings. They're leading you down a path from that's not going to a very good or very fruitful goal. You're going down a path basically that's a road to ruin because you see that these are just ADD motherfuckers. They don't know what they want. They go from one star to the next. One week they love bitch boy cab driver Sami Zayn. The next week it's fuckboy Balor. The next week it's flabby tits fat ass Samoa Joe. It doesn't matter, like who you push because the marks will never be satisfied. So stop that shit and start going back to the classic way of doing business. Go with the big stars, the people that look like stars and that will be stars, and the people that will actually draw for the company. Anyway, the Reigns and Cena segment was good. Everything else was Anyway, here's your Raw review. This has been your YWC champion. Signing out. Let me do that a little bit better. All right.